你会不会觉得有很多的情感好像并没有很多适合的字来形容？ Well, it's your lucky day. 今天让我们来分享一些蛮有名的 made up words， 特别是来形容不同的一些悲伤感。Hello， 欢迎来到 Executive Plus 主管与沟通力的 Podcast。I'm Sherry, an educator, certified coach, and style enthusiast. 我相信专业有效的沟通是语言跟逻辑的完美结合。
And I'm Nick, a startup consultant, corporate trainer, and late-night gaming junkie. I believe great communication requires the right mindset and solid frameworks.
我们希望带给大家职场英语的技能、跨文化沟通技巧与其他能帮助您成为出色领导者的工具。
Join us each week as we share our experience, research, and methodologies to take your communication and language skills from good to great. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Executive Plus podcast. At least a few times a week, you listen to Sherry and I talk. And for the most part, the words that we use make sense to you. But what happens if we just started making up words? Well, today we want to discuss a TED Talk by John Koenig, someone who, for a living, makes up words. But words, he feels, beautifully express ideas that we just don't have the right words to describe yet.
So he's the author of a book called The Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows. 所以就是一些悲伤的感觉，但是这些感觉它可能蛮微妙，它可能比较细微，但是你又发现没有足够的字去形容。因为其实在很多的语言来说，有一些比如说西班牙文它有的一些单字在英文是没有的，中文是没有。那当然一样，我们中文有的单字英文可能没有，其他语言没有。但是有一些这种 obscure sorrows 可能是全世界都不太会有的，那我觉得也蛮有趣的啦。So let's take a look at just a couple of examples today and see if we can apply them to our everyday life.
One word that comes from his dictionary that I particularly like, and I think this is incredibly true for most entrepreneurs, especially entrepreneurs who have been at it for a while, is the idea of Veemodalen, which he says is the fear that everything has already been done. I like this word because I think most people who are in their entrepreneurship journey, when they first get started, they're excited by an idea. Maybe they look around briefly and they don't see someone trying to solve this, or it's a problem they have and they try and solve it. But then the more that they grow and the more that they look outside of their own circle, they start to feel like, oh my God, has someone already done this? Is this already a thing? Is this not a thing? It's just that fear that something has already been done. Or maybe you have a strong dream for entrepreneurship, but you can't find an idea that someone hasn't tackled yet.
Even for content creators, I think this is something that could be a fear for a lot of people on social media because we're constantly trying to do something very different, you know, something that you can't find anything similar anywhere else in the world. So yeah, definitely it is a small fear, but it's a fear that comes up quite a lot in different phases in your career. Another word I wanted to share that I thought it was quite interesting, I think it's pronounced as watashiato. Sounds like Japanese, doesn't it?
Yeah, he has a very good... He likes to mix it up. So if you listen to his TED Talk, he talks about the origins of words from different countries. But in the end, they were all words he made up. But he does a very good job of like finding different countries that have a word that seemingly sounds like it should be from that language.
Right. So this word, watashiato, what does it mean? It's a noun. It means that it's curiosity about the impact you've made on the lives of people you know, wondering which of your harmless action or long forgotten words might have altered the plot of their stories in ways you'll never get to see. I think, yeah, this is definitely something I thought about. I mean, I wouldn't say this is like sorrow, but you're just wondering, hey, as a teacher, right? I was a teacher for a very long time. 我都会想说, 我可能说哪句话或教他们哪一个部分，可能是英文的也好，可能跟生活有关也好，是不是改变了他们的想法？ And I wonder if that is, have they taken that idea and applied that in their lives? So yeah, that is something I have wondered about, but I didn't know that I needed a word for that.
Yeah, you always have to wonder, it's like, what actions have you taken, whether it's someone you touch directly or someone maybe, like in the case of our podcast, we've never even met, where some information we gave them became very useful, or maybe there was something that we said that someone used in a different way and we just don't know. And it always becomes that interesting thought experiment. So this is a great word for that. Well, the reason why we wanted to cover this talk itself is not only does it create this really fun thought experiment for ourselves, digging through his blog and his YouTube channel where he actually lists out all of these different words that are in his dictionary, but also just an example of a really tight 5-minute talk that's, I would argue, almost perfect as far as if you listen to it, it grabs you the whole way through, you get a clear point, and it's something that you might actually want to go back and listen to again. A few things that I really like about his talk proper. One is that he opens with something that seems quite clear. He just goes, okay, different languages have different words that mean things that we don't have in our own English language. And he gives a few examples from Chinese, from German, etc. And then at the end of that, he drops a little surprise that all of these words he made up. And that was done within like the first minute. So he has a really great hook of both a topic you might be interested in, but then a surprise thought that it's not what you think is going on.
他的整个 talk 其实我觉得真的让我蛮 surprise 的部分是因为他可以用很短的时间就可以很清楚的让大家知道 what we're missing out on not having the words, right? 而且我觉得他的这个整个 talk 非常的简洁有力. It's very concise and it gets straight to the point. It gives you some example and then leaves you wanting more. I think that's what it's really different about his talk.
Yeah, and back to something we talked about with Chris Anderson's focus on what makes an idea worth spreading is it does want you leaving more. It makes you want to either go get his book, which he doesn't sell. He just says, this is what my life work is. But he teases you with enough information and he connects it back to the audience. So specifically, there's one word, sonder, that he made up and it sort of went viral. This is a word that started getting picked up a lot of different places.
So if you're curious, like us, sonder means that it's a realization that each random passerby is living a life as vivid and complex as your own. So, for example, we are the main characters in our lives, but we are the side characters or the supporting characters in other people's lives.
And this idea immediately strikes most of his audience of like, oh, that's really true, or that's something I've thought about, right? It's also back to that old philosophical question of what happens when someone leaves a room and you can't see them anymore? Do they cease to exist? Right? That idea is that maybe the only things that really exist are what we can see and experience. And so having that realization of like, oh no, as soon as like my colleague goes home, they have a completely different complex life and I am not at the center of their attention anymore. They have other things going on. This is a feeling that the audience connect with. And so he opens with that really interesting premise. He chooses specifically a word to connect with people where they have probably had that feeling. And then he ties it into his main point about what gives words meaning. And this is specific to his own line of work, but also of sort of a deeper philosophical question, both of why don't we have words that describe these things? What makes words and, as an extension, us have meaning? And he does all of this in a really tight 5 to 6 minute talk. But I think that what you can learn from his pacing and the fact that he hits everything that, let's say, Chris Anderson says makes a good idea, just gives you a sense of what can be a perfect 5-minute talk. So we really recommend go back and listen to this talk, piece apart what he says and how he does it, and you'll see that really all you need is a good premise, a good opening, a few examples, and a strong conclusion, and you can have a talk that people are willing to listen to. And back to the idea that even though he has a dictionary that he can sell and it became a bestseller after this, he never sells it, but he builds enough intrigue in your mind where you go, I want to find out more. And that's what makes his talk worth spreading. Check out the link in the show notes and let us know what you think about this one. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
The Executive Plus podcast is a Presentality Group production, produced and hosted by Sherry Fang and Nick Howard. You can search us on Facebook, 主管英文 Executive Plus. You can also find us on Instagram, Communication R&D, and email us at sherry@epstyleplus.com.